Welcome back to another episode of Final Cut. Now, before I introduce our next guest, I just want to say, before the guests come in from the green room, we have a piece of music that we play for them as they're walking in. And there was a typical choice yesterday when this individual said to me, I don't know which track I want, but here's 3 or 4 to choose from. He actually came into Tina Turner, Simply the Best. I would have picked Mr. Big Stuff, because we've got the one and only in the house, Mr. Errol Douglas, MBE. Errol, welcome to Final Cut.
It's great to be here.
I've interviewed you many times, especially over lockdown.
Yes.
And it's always fantastic to interview you because you've always got something different, and there's always exciting things happening. Even in lockdown, he's sat there in a tux with a award that he just picked up that night online. It's just like it's proper showbiz. But you've had a long career. Lots of people who come on Final Cut, lots of people in this industry know who you are, and lots of people look up to you. And I think in the career that you've had, or what we've looked at in particular, is that the longevity at being at the top, and still, as today, you're doing things different. As Errol Douglas MB now, you just opened your brand new venture here in London. Tell us a little bit about that.
Simon, God, where do I start? That, for me, has been a shot in the arm, really, because it came from nowhere. And when I say it came from nowhere, we've been discussing it for past 3 years, but we've been negotiating. But if you negotiate with hoteliers, it's nothing is ever cast in stone, and there's so many layers to this company. So the salon is in the Peninsula. The Peninsula has been going since 1928, really old Asian family. So when they chose us, I was kind of blown away, but they were speaking to people individually. But what they wanted to create, obviously a great salon, but a salon which can do just more than hair, because we speak about 15 languages in the salon. We specialize in all hair types, culturally. We do a lot, but what they loved is the kind of, we're kind of a big brand in Knightsbridge, and I would like to say we're a big brand internationally, but we're a big brand in Knightsbridge. So when it came along, I just thought this is a great project. But the great thing about it, there's going to be other projects because, Istanbul was in the offering, Japan, so there's quite a few, but this is a really bespoke offering. It's called Errol Douglas Atelier. It's a small offering. It's like going into a beautiful lounge, but what I would call it, it's like going into a upmarket boudoir bedroom. Can I say boudoir?
Of course you can. Yes. Of course you can. There's no rules.
Set the tone, not abattoir. But it's a wraparound experience, and when I say that, because we all try to create that in the industry, but sometimes the premises is too big to have that intimate service, but it is an intimate service. There's only 4 chairs in there, and so you get that wraparound service all the way.
And what kind of services do you offer in there?
So we only do blow drying. It's only kind of, can I say dry styling? It's only blow drying and manicures and pedicures. So if you want anything a little bit more elaborate, we would whisk you around to Mottcombe Street, because we've got 30 cars available to us. So they would get in the car if they wanted colour.
Green.
Yes.
Rolls-Royce.
Oh, you've seen it, yeah.
Well, I was lucky enough working in Hong Kong. The peninsula is in Hong Kong as well. And they have a revolving bar on the top floor where it revolves. And I always distinctly remember all these. I think they had Bentleys or green Bentleys there. Yes. So you have all these cars available.
Yes, we have antique cars or old cars. We have green cars. So they've got an electric Bentley. They've got an electric Range Rover. It's incredible what they offer, but the good thing about it is just standard, so that's what you get. So just imagine if they wanted to kind of put one of their guests around or take them to a restaurant, that's what they would do. 30 cars, that's amazing. Great service.
It is, but with that service there'll become a price. So it's important that we don't bullshit. So for a lady that's in, or a guy that's into in the hotel and fancies to, is it just mainly guests? Yes. Of the hotel?
Yes. The great thing about the Peninsula Group, they're very clever. They go in for people who want apartments, and they go in for people obviously there every day. So we cater for the residents and we cater for the customers, the guests. So we are available to them not 24 hours a day, but
And is there a menu? A
yes.
blow dry menu?
No menu, because it's all bespoke.
So it's either a wash and blow dry or
Yeah.
a dry styling, putting
Yeah,
up. Or...
and that starts from about £185 and it goes up. But
per blow dry,
yes,
not a season blow dry.
no, you can't be a season ticket.
Wow. Wow.
You could try to use your club card.
And since
in
you've
there.
opened up, is it busy?
Yes, it's touch wood. It's been we've hit the ground running. It's been really, really busy. But what is great about it is we're not rushing anyone. So it could take as long as an hour or 2 hours, depending on what your hair is. If you've got hair extensions, it's going to cost even more. But the great thing is there's no hurry. What I love about the unit, you can go in there as a stylist and you're not hurried. You can take as long as it takes. And you can't really say that in many salons. When I'm doing stuff, when I'm working there, because I only go there by request, I would charge by the hour. But the great thing is the team are established, and that's the greatest thing with the business now. I don't have to be there, but I am there. And it is interesting, when you walk away from something, it always pulls you back. So I'm always there, but it's for morale,
Yeah. I think if I'm staying in the Peninsula Hotel though, and my missus wants her hair blow drying and it's up at your place, and I've got the door,
Yeah.
I want to say, where's Errol?
Yeah, well, I'll be there. You
I
just
want Errol
click.
in. So would it
You've got me on speed dial.
Would it be more expensive then for you? Because it has to be obviously
Just
booked.
a little bit more,
You
not a
can't
lot.
just say, Errol, just finish that client and then we'll send a car for you. Or does that happen?
Yes, it happens. It would be a little bit more, but not a lot, Simon. The great thing about this particular offering, especially us being within the peninsula, there's no holds bar when it comes to money, because these guys are really affluent. They're staying in an affluent environment and they don't care about cost. And sometimes, we always think, oh my God, I'm charging this, charging that. And, hairdressers, we should be charging whatever we want because we're experts, we're professionals. So when it comes into that environment, somebody's walking in there, they do not worry about cost. And, if I'm shopping, I'm doing something in the areas where I like to shop in, I don't worry about costs, because obviously you've done your homework about that particular place you're walking into, so you know what you're walking into. What annoys me is anybody who walks into a brand thinking they know something about that brand, and then they get shocked by the price and they make a scene, and I'm thinking, come on, don't go in there.
Do your research.
Yeah, definitely
absolutely.
do your research.
Do you know this? It's interesting. This has been a recurring theme throughout today, and also in season 1, where the true value of a hairdresser, the true value of someone behind the chair, often is put down constantly. And actually, there'll be people watching this, and they'll be thinking, they'll be envious. They'll be thinking, £185 as a starting point. That should be celebrated. If you look at it from an economic standpoint, supply and demand, you've just explained the demand is there.
Yeah.
So then the challenge on the industry is to be the supply. So that should be celebrated in many ways, I would suggest.
The greatest thing about hairdressing is it comes in so many different tiers. It comes in so many different training bands. So obviously, and it is quite interesting because I kind of motivate myself by other people motivating me. And it is interesting where some people, if you haven't got confidence, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to do anything. So hairdressing is obviously about experience and confidence, but it's more so you've got to a certain plateau in life, and if you can command that, do
Why
it.
not? Absolutely.
You just, so many people crawl into a little shell thinking, I can't do it.
You've done loads of projects over your careers, though. You've been with different brands and different electrical brands, and you've had lots of exciting things. You've had a fantastic career. You've made it happen.
Yeah.
I know you have, because I know how you graft and how talented you are. So this latest project, then, is this one of the most exciting projects you've done? Would you put it up there in the top 5?
I would put it there in the top 5 because my constant project, and anybody I think can say this, is like surviving where I am. I've been in Mottcombe Street now for 26 years, so it's keeping the door open. So every day Okay, you can do all your forecasts, and obviously everything's so different now. But every day to me is the project of keeping my doors open and kind of, having different USPs. I have to obviously attract people into the premises. I don't just sit there, and that's an awful thing. What happens in this industry, we sit thinking everything's going to come to us. Absolutely not. I'm very proactive as a person and very proactive as a hairdresser, and my managers are the same, because if you can't gel with them, there's no point in them being there. So we're always looking for, not in a tacky, callous way. We're always looking for that new client or that new person to come in through the door.
Do you? What's an average week for Errol Douglas?
I'm here. Oh, how often do I come to the borough? Never. Average week, it could be. So I can only talk about, because that's the only thing that comes into my head now quickly. I can only talk about Fashion Week. I was there at Fashion Week. BAFTA, I was there. Brit Awards, I was there. So there's always something going on. Very much we have bespoke clients, but I try to keep them in the salon.
And how many days a week do you do in
the salon?
Yeah.
Used to be about 3. I would say I'm there about 4 days a week, and then 2 days I just do a lot of media things. But everything rolls into one.
Yeah.
So if you said to me, what does Friday look like? I'm doing things a rolling weekend, and it's interesting, because yesterday I did my motorbike test.
Congrats.
Thank you. And Sunday, to have a Sunday off was unusual, and yesterday
I had to spoil it for you then.
no, you're cool. But it was raining. It was an awful day, but I was out. It was great to have some time for myself, and then I had to go into work. But I'm always working. It's really funny. Hairdressers are workaholics. Yes, they should take time for themselves. They have to do that inner energy work on themselves. And for me, I thrive from being busy. It makes me better. I've got time to think about my next move. But like I said, I surround myself with good people. I've got great managers, good people to feed off, and they pull me up as well. So, and it is quite good when somebody's not afraid. You have it in your organisations. We all have it. But I think it's imperative for somebody to say, Errol, this is not right.
Yeah.
You need that.
To have the sort of balls to say,
Yes. Yeah.
this isn't.
Well, we were talking about this last week in terms of just sometimes you've got to be challenged, but you've got to accept a challenge as well.
Yeah.
And you're right, in our organisation, we speak about this quite a lot. You're in a meeting sometimes, I might have an idea, but 3 other people don't think that idea, and I have to go with their idea, and then what you have to do very quickly is adjust and then give them all your support.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's full circle, because you think they're not going to do my idea,
Yep.
and now all I'm going to do is play a big part in this idea.
Yeah.
But as a professional, I have to do everything in my power to make that idea successful, even though sometimes you grit your teeth.
Yeah.
But it has, and there's so many people that we deal with on a different level that just can't stand challenging. They just don't like to be challenged.
Yeah. Because they have to be the alpha male. Can I say that? Top dogs.
Or alpha female.
Alpha female. They have to
person.
be alpha person. You hit it on the head, Barry. Yeah, you have to be that alpha person. But at the end of the day, I think it is good to be challenged, and at the same time, you have to be aware of what you're saying as well. Because I'm in a position of power, and not in a big-headed way. I'm just talking about I'm a boss. I'm a motivator. So I have to be careful what I say to people, and I have to get the best out of people. So you have to be, I think, quite cultured and quite calculated for me every day, because I want that person to perform to the best they can. So, and I know now it's a different culture. You have to be you've got to be guarded on everything, especially with your team. And, but my team are seeing how I'm speaking to my clients and vice versa and stuff like that. And the wheel just keeps them perpetuate.
Just on the subject of your team and the people around you, and you've just outlined it there, it's good to be challenged.
Yeah.
When you put your name to something like this, and you're not there all the time, so there's services that are being rendered without you overseeing it, and your name's on that door. How big a challenge is that from an employer standpoint?
Well, everybody's got their secret weapon, and I've got mine. And I think Barry's met her before.
Yes.
Kim Clayton, she's my business partner, and she knows how I like things inside out. And she's fortunate enough, she's there all the time. So I'm there all the time, but she's there all the time. And she would not go, no, Errol wouldn't like that. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't arise. So, and I think that's a good thing. And also, I think it's really important that people who surround me just know where my qualities are and my strengths. Yeah.
Because that can't be an easy process. Like, you're there now.
Yeah.
But go back to like when your name was on the salon door.
Yeah.
In the first instance, and when you had a day off or you were wherever you might have been at that time, how did you get to this place? Because a lot of people tuning in are looking at it and are trying to, get a lot of inspiration and insight from you. And they're probably thinking, I can't do that yet. Or I don't think I'm quite there yet where I can just take a slight step back.
Well, I think it's all to do with letting go. Because what I've noticed with my character, and I notice it with a lot of people in the industry, they always try to control everything.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. Doesn't work. It never worked then. It's never going to work. So I've learned to let go, delegate. If they're wrong or if it's not to my liking, obviously we will reevaluate. We have an appraisal, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I have to let people try, I can't keep them constantly be on their, I love that word. It was a coattail. You can't be kind of literally standing on their heads.
Micromanagement's no good. It's no good for you as the person that's micromanaging because you just never know when to leave it. I think putting good policies and principles and structures in place, and then you just said it, having great people to run those structures and principles, and then you need to make that's not working, change it. Have the adaptation to change things. But I think if I'm right here, so I want to go real back to your beginning part of your career. And the first time I ever met you was at a fellowship event. And I think at that point you might have been working for Neville Port. What were the salon called?
Neville Daniel.
Neville Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh, so I went far off.
Yeah.
Second name.
Yeah, that's a good memory. Everybody forgets them, but they're such big brands now.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, so I remember... coming to fellowship stuff, and then that was, I think, when you were on the Fame team. So we're going to go back here.
93.
93.
Yeah, my daughter would have been 3. So my first ever fellowship event was at Hammersmith Le Palais.
Yeah.
1991. Guy Kramer, Anthony Mascola, and Charlie Miller on the stage. Called Best of British. But then you came just after that, and you were on the Fame team, and then seeing you move on. And remember then when I think you were at Goldwell at the time when you opened up the Buckram Street Salon. So I'm going to address this next subject, and you have to bear with us.
Okay.
You've done so many amazing things in your career. You've been nominated 28 times.
Yeah.
For British Hairdresser.
Am I squirming? Yes.
Put the book down because this is mate.
28 times.
I can't tell you how many times I've come to the awards and said to myself, and maybe last year when we shared a taxi together, it's got to be Errol's year this year. Yeah. How many times have you felt that financially? Is there come a point where you think that's not going to happen, or do you still keep striving and keep moving forward? You've got so many fantastic things happening in your career that's happening in your career that's one night, it's one trophy. And I know you want to win it because you wouldn't have been in it all them years, but do you understand where my question is? It's an elephant in room, and a lot of people on the podcast will not ask you this. I want to ask you it. Where are you with that kind of psyche?
Let's do a bit of an analogy. Okay, somebody's choking kind of in a room, somebody runs up to them and they give them the Heimlich, is it?
Yeah,
maneuver?
Heimlich.
And it's like,
when you...
So my thing hasn't left my body yet. I'm still choking, okay? Just think of that every single time I'm there, sitting down, I'm thinking, this could be it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Be careful what I'm doing. It feels something is stuck.
Yeah.
Until I get it out of my system, I can walk away. I've never been that person to walk away from anything anyway. This is such unfinished business. This is uncharted water. And yes, I will win one day. I only want to win it once and then walk off. But at this particular moment in time, one of the things which I'm known for and which I'm good at is we always produce great collections. My collection would be on somebody's inspiration board. Could be this year's, next year's collection, whatever. It will be inspiring somebody. So that's quite good. And I'm not just talking about hairdressers. It could be, you know,
Stylists.
can I say certain country? It could be Wella, could be L'Oreal, could be Douglas. Okay, it could be on somebody's inspiration board. So for me, that is, you're halfway there. But just remember, I'm doing pictures for the collections. I'm doing a collection, but I'm not using it for the collection, because if they spit it out, regurgitate it, I can make it, it'll win something else.
Yeah.
So it's not just that secular
Recycled.
thing. Yeah, I can make it worth my while. But the only thing I will say is that these pictures are they cost a lot of money. Okay, I would love to have that little part of me would say, okay, we can do it for threepence, but it's never going to happen. You know, once you start dealing with photographers, brands, certain people, it just gets
Escalates.
yeah. So it's a lot of money.
Looking how many times you've been nominated for that, and speaking to other people who have been nominated, what they've spent, some people who have won it,
Yeah.
what they've spent. Looking how many times you've been nominated,
Yeah.
you would be very wealthy and probably not have to work again for what you spent on your photographs.
Yeah, but it's a process, isn't it? It's
I get it, it's a process.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when people stop smoking and they say, I haven't smoked for 2 years, if I'd have put it on, like, I used to spend 60 quid a week,
Yeah.
if I'd have put that in savings,
Yeah.
I'd have had 4,322 quid. I'm thinking here, we're talking
Yeah.
over $1 million
But
quid.
if you think of it in a way, because people around this room, I'm into education, so it helps my education as
Yeah.
well. So once upon a time, because of all the ambassador roles, was they would always use my pictures for their editorial or their booklet or their prospectus for the year. So these pictures will go around.
They have multiple use.
Yeah, absolutely. And the global thing with these pictures, they're everywhere. So for me, if it's in the cosmos, it's working. But at the end of the day, I see it as it's interesting because it's all to do with growing up. Once upon a time, I saw that it's like being slapped in the
Yeah.
face, or one of the worst things, and people could definitely identify with this. It's never happened to me, by the way. If somebody poured a drink over you with everybody watching, you know, those old classic Hollywood.
Put down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel
So-
like everybody's looking at you for
Yes.
the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is quite interesting because there's this topic going around now about why aren't younger people going to nightclubs or whatever. You can't afford to go to a nightclub. You can't afford to buy somebody a drink. But a lot of the people, what they were saying, which I found so interesting, was because we're in this viral video camera and telephones, whatever. A lot of the younger guys were afraid that somebody will take a video of them and put it on the internet. Isn't that crazy? You know,
Isn't it? That's why they're not going out.
one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons because you know.
That's
the
an
cost
which
of
is
it
valid,
The
yeah.
cost of it's
Yeah.
But there is that. You're absolutely right. There's that picture of the four guys.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Your
honest to
privacy has
goodness,
been
it's
invaded.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're in the culture of I'm going to help somebody, I would help them because I come from that old school. I wouldn't film it. I would get up and stop it.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, I wouldn't be
Natural
part of it.
reaction now is to
Exactly.
take a camera and-
Exactly.
and
The
film
person could be dying and somebody's recording it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you know, I look back at my career and so very lucky to be at the right place at the right time
Yeah.
when I started.
Yeah.
Just for our viewers and for the
Yeah.
younger generation, right? Because if I was at home and I not know what I know now, but the younger version of me, I would have watched podcasts like this. I'd have watched you, and I'd have sat at home thinking, I will definitely get to meet him, and I will definitely get to work for him. The new generation ain't got that kind of desire.
Right.
But if they had, well, first of all, what impresses you with young people? And secondly, how do they get to you? Do they come to the shop? Do you get people sending CVs in? Do you get
I've got to be careful here. Very careful.
Social media. Yeah, well, you don't want to
Yeah.
be.
I've got to be careful because I have got such a big network of people who help me anyway. Anybody who knows me knows they can just DM me. But it's being in the right place at the right time. But I'm always open. My door is always open, but you can't keep it too open.
No.
But at the same time, for me, and I love this when I see somebody who's coming into to interview with me. I like it when they have researched about the company, about the people in it. It's not just about Errol Douglas. It's just, it's about the people in the company. I'm impressed by that, but I'm not impressed when it happens on such a basis when somebody comes in and they don't know anything about the trade. They haven't got a hobby. I'm doing the interview for them. It's annoying. Okay.
I want somebody with some drive.
Exactly. And we're always looking for people with drive. But the greatest thing is we cultivate people, we mold people, and we get them to where they want to be. And what I love about certain younger people coming through is I can get you to where you want to be, because it's great when you see somebody from East London or South London and social skills wise, I can get you there. Because certain hotels wouldn't employ somebody who, if they weren't direct or their diction wasn't good. It's just like us as well. We have to be careful because they're dealing with a certain echelon of client. So I have to be careful with the people who are walking around or talking to my clients. But at the same time, I'm in the people business as well. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to train you. But it's not going to be in my image, but I'm going to make you the strongest person I can. And you're going to be able to do public speaking. You're going to be able to talk in front of your family. You're going to be able to do a stage show for 1,000 people. I think that's the greatest thing about hairdressing. It does elevate you as a person or an individual. It just really elevates you, and you can ricochet and help so many people with that. It's quite interesting talking about hairdressing awards again. I invite a lot of my clients stroke friends to the hairdressing awards, and they can't believe the environment. They've got this is amazing, because they've never been into, I don't know, Gardeners Weekly Awards or something.
Take them up to Shabba Awards in Scotland.
It's life, and we breed life. It's such a great profession. And I can say this as an individual, and again, people around this couch, we inject life. There's no profession like it.
See, with all that being said, are you excited and enthused, or are you dismayed? Where are you with the future of this industry?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
What about the caliber of young people that are coming through?
Okay, right. So I can answer this two ways, and I have to be careful because I'm a parent myself. It's to do with the parent at home. You need that backing. You need that kind of
the structure.
Yeah, you need structure. You need to kind of, I'm not teaching them to be me, and I've said that before. All it is, you just need parents to be proper parents and teachers. None of this friends stuff. You can't be a friend to your son or your daughter. It doesn't happen. You need to be a role model, play a role model, and then we can take over. And a lot of the time you have people who they haven't got any, there's no substance.
No.
And that's a shame, but at the same time it's changing. It is changing. All you have to do is get rid of the phone. It annoys me, and I think it annoys a lot of people. You can be in a restaurant, can be in a bar, nobody talks to each other because there's 1,000 people on their phones.
Yeah.
So that typifies where we're at, and sometimes that means you're not on a quest, you're not reading, you're not looking at podcasts or listening to them. It means you're stuck in a bubble, and I think that is the killer of society.
Do you think enough of your peers are doing enough for the next generation of hairdressers?
Absolutely. But it's kind of, what form does that take? And you have to remold it, you have to reshape it. But I think, I do a lot. I know the fellowship does a lot. But it's how you make it. It has to resonate. It has to connect with the right people. How do you do that? But you have to try. So, what turns that person on? I know when I go to a fellowship event, I'm a hands-on person. I like to see hair.
Yeah.
Okay, I like to see people in a room.
We said this.
Yeah.
Don't just do pre-prep models.
Oh.
Let them see them do it.
Yeah.
Cut it, colour
Yeah.
it, put it up, whatever you're going to do, but
Yeah.
do it in front of them.
Yeah.
Not all
Yeah.
pre-done.
No.
Do you think the fellowship helped you in your career?
Oh God, absolutely. Yeah. 100%. 100%. And I can honestly say this because one day you should obviously get Antoinette around the table, because I was in the fame team
with
with Antoinette, and Antoinette just landed, and she landed with Trevor Sorby. I was always a disciple of Paul Edmonds, so I was lucky enough to be trained by Paul. But at that particular time, Paul didn't know what to do with me. And then the person who introduced me to fellowship was Keith Harris and Umberto Giannini, the late Umberto. But Paul didn't know what to do with me because I was always doing stuff. And he was saying, but you have to come to work. And I'm saying, but no. And at that time, I was contacting people I didn't know. I was, should I say harassing? I was really vocal about saying, oh, can I help you? So I would go somewhere and I see somebody and I admire them. I say, can I help you? That's a lot of how my career.
That's how you learned.
Yeah. And I have, to this day, got a big network of people like that. The greatest thing with all my shows abroad, I can connect with Russia, America, any country you can possibly think of. My biggest ambassadorship, and a lot of the other ones I did were big, but L'Oreal, honestly, they connected everybody. We did some massive shows. Matrix, actually, I should say. We did some massive shows, and they were all around the world. And so I'd be working with people whole weekends, a week, and you get to know them. So you just pick up the phone, and you'd always be on the phone with them. And that, to me, is like, that's such a, it's like a minefield of ideas and people all the time, which I love. And I think the greatest thing is, I'm a communicator, so I have to communicate with them, and I'm still communicating with them, which is great.
Any regrets in your career?
Ooh, that's a big one. No, it was, I don't think I've got time for regrets. I think things happen for a reason. And just like most people, I need to be battered. So those things what have happened to me, whether you can talk about it or not, they had to happen to me because I needed to grow from it. Yeah.
Well, they don't say you learn from winning. You learn from losing.
Yeah. So
That's why
true.
I'm thick. You're a winner.
We're all winners.
What's been the highlight of your career? So I'm not going to ask you that question.
Yeah.
What's been the highlight that you would most want to go back and relive that moment?
It's another good question, isn't it, Simon? You're
Simon,
on fire.
what's going on? What's
Your
in that
book's full
book?
of it, everything.
On fire over there.
You'd love to know what's in this book.
You probably wouldn't.
Okay, right. That's an easy one for me because, and this is the absolute truth, I never thought in a million years I would have a salon in Knightsbridge. Never. Okay? Only because of the demographics of people around. And if you go to Knightsbridge is like, oh my God, it's so over the
I
top.
read
So over the top. And it's that true saying, you can never judge a book by its covers, because we do rock stars, celebrities and whatever. And if you saw how they dressed, you would know they would never in a million years have that type of money, but they have. And again, that's why I say to my team, you have to treat everybody the same, because you never know where they come from. So my highlight really was the guy who found the shop for me. I'll never forget his name, Peter Bromwich. He worked for a company called Miles Commercial. Said, you never get that shop, And I said, you watch me. Because they wanted all these guarantors. We weren't a blue chip company. We had nothing behind us. We'd never had a lease. And honestly, it is to do with who you know. So Grosvenor House or Grosvenor family, I would say we knew them, or we did a few of their directors. That's how we got in. But it is interesting. When I first saw this shop, I just thought, we have to have it. And now this is 26 years later in the same premises. And again, we're fortunate, and I can touch wood, many people have so many problems with leases and all the rest of it, but we're still in the same property. Our landlords have been good and a bit difficult, but at the same time, I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. I'm not going to say this about them or whatever, because at the end of the day, I'm still doing my term. But we were going to expand, and it never happened because it was too difficult, and the landlords put the rent up. So anyway, if we would have opened, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
If I'd have moved across the road to a bigger premises, I wouldn't be sitting here now.
We were
Not in this
speaking
mood.
to Adam Reed on a past episode, and we were talking to Adam being in London
Yeah.
for 28 years and 26 years in your, but longer than that in your career.
Yeah.
It's tough. London's a hot pot of top hairdressers from around the world.
Yeah.
But to sustain a business and pay the rents and you know, that is a long time in the centre of London, under the pressure of rent, rates, wages. Everything's at the highest level where you are. You've picked that hardest. It's like, I'm going to be a football club. Well, we're going to start off, we're going to rent Old Trafford.
Yeah, and literally next door to me, I've got Eleanor watching me all the time from Neville's, and then I've got Hutchison's on the other side, the people who made me type of thing. I've got them watching me all the time, but we're in the same tier. And where we are at the moment, there's loads of really good brands, Paul Edmonds, Sam Riz. There's a lot of salons around. And it is quite interesting. I think the demographics of London is bigger brands. And I know there's a lot of brands all outside London because it's, you know, we're not London-centric. But there's a lot of amazing brands of hairdressers. And they're a hop, skip and a jump, i.e. a street away. So we have to be on our game all the time.
Daily.
Yeah, absolutely. Hourly.
There's still lots of life left in you in terms of obviously this new project with the hotel and lots of other things. But looking back at your career, and if you were to, if let's say in 10 years' time, were to write a paragraph about your legacy, what would you want to be written about you? What have you left behind in this industry? What's the carbon footprint on this industry that you've left behind?
My carbon footprint would be the people I've trained. You know, the people who have been in my inner circle, you know, and hopefully they're still members of the fellowship, you know, Jamie Stevens, you know, Junior Green, there's quite a few of them. But at the end of the day, they kind of, what's that word? They had their foot in, they got their teeth involved with me in that way. And now look at them. They're all kind of doing well themselves. For me, it's about training, because we've trained since we've been in Knightsbridge now, I would say about at least 800 people, probably more.
Wow,
and they've gone on to do other things.
That's a hell of a lot.
And when I say that, it's always interesting to see how many people have been on your resume, because not everybody makes it from assistant to the floor. But it is quite interesting how many people I've come across who have been seniors and they've really impacted me and vice versa. And they can say, you know, they've worked for this person. But also it is quite interesting. And I think one of the hairdressers we always admire says it on Instagram all the time. Sam at Night says, if you're going to use my work, credit me. Okay, and that's the same as in, you know, people you've worked for. If you've worked for somebody, say you've worked there.
Yeah. Sure.
Don't try
be
to
proud of it.
Don't try to shade it
up.
Part
or
of your
hide
history.
it away.
It's part of your history.
Exactly.
So many people think they've done it on their own. I have it on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis where you've given somebody a leg up, you've helped them, you've changed the careers around. And then I'm very lucky that we have got a lot of longevity, but there's some that have been there 2 or 3 years to go off. And it's like you're almost like wiped out that they've got to where they haven't.
No.
Nobody even knew you.
Yeah.
We give you the platforms to work, and we give you the entrances to go into. And I don't know if you do it, but I sometimes take that personally. So I stop listening to it now because I'm like, all right, if you can't be asked to mention where you've come from or what you're doing, I find that
It's just
difficult.
that basic recognition, isn't it? It's why deny it?
Yeah, and it's opening doors, you know, and fundamentally we've opened a lot of doors for a lot of people.
You have.
And at the same time, you know, it's helped me as well. But I think people just forget, and they try to forget. But I'm a researcher, so there's not many things I don't know about hairdressers or the people I'm on stage with.
It's a bit like the Bee Gees.
Where is he going with that?
No, I'm just saying
What's
that they had loads and loads of hits themselves.
Yeah.
But they writ so many songs for other artists.
Of course, yeah.
Got number ones that you don't even know about, and they never get when these artists are
Unless it's
interviewed.
mentioned.
That's like Dolly Parton. You'd be surprised how many
Huge.
songs she's written. And she wrote a lot for Whitney Houston, actually.
Did she?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to finish off with some quick fire questions, but before we do,
Oh, is it over already? I'm just getting warmed up.
You're
I
having
want to
fun.
ask you just a little bit about your time. We over the last few weeks we've had our existing president in Rob Eaton. We've had the new elect president Ashleigh Hodges on an episode. Your time as president, do you look back at that fondly? Were it too busy? How do you look back at your time as president?
My time as president was astonishing. I just don't know how I did it, but I did it. I had a good infrastructure around me. It was challenging. It was mopping my brow a lot, but I learned a lot from it, and it is quite interesting. So you can be your own CEO in a business, but sometimes when you're in another business, it's different. So I had my, obviously, fellowship eyes on, or head on, and that role was such a great role. I'm not saying I'm Trump or Biden or Rishi Sunak, but it was a great role to have. And I think not everybody can do it. And I think at that particular time when I took it on, everybody thought I wouldn't be able to do it. But I relished it. I had a great innings. It was we did some different things, especially about opening up the north. We changed a few things, and obviously the great thing about it now is, yes, the fellowship is not about being London centric. There's so many great counties out there, obviously Scotland, Ireland as well, but it's just making it accessible. So yeah, I had a great time. That medal weighed me down a bit.
It feels all right on me, to be fair. I think I'm getting used to it. It's not heavy at all.
but it was it's really funny because I had to do something in Australia with it, and I was paranoid because I forgot to put it in my hand luggage. I put it in the
hold.
In the hold. It was the worst trip ever because
Didn't think you were ever going to see it again.
Yeah. And that time we didn't have tags. You didn't have
And
the
then
little.
Errol would have opened up a salon in Sydney.
Well, there'll be no danger for everybody who's going to vote for me because I'll wear it all the time, and even when I go on the flight, I'll still wear it.
You would. But it was yeah. And I think the greatest thing with it as well is to see the names of
The history.
the history of the other presidents. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's why, and again, I'm not going on about it. It's just I can't wait to see my name on that trophy for British because, come on, Trevor Sorby, some heavyweights on there, Angie Moscolo. I can go on, Antoinette. There's some heavyweights on there.
Charles won it.
Yeah, Charles Worthington. Yeah.
He won it a couple.
Yeah.
Once,
John
though.
Frieda.
John Frieda, I remember when John won it. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some names
big
on it.
names on it.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody. Just remember that not everybody will have their name on it. And again, do you deserve something? You can't say that because it's about the pictures. So, yeah, let's see what comes around.
Oh, see, we're going to keep his fingers crossed anyway.
Oh,
2024 could be the year. But you've already had a good start to this year, haven't you, with
Yes.
the
Yeah.
adventures and everything.
Yeah.
Finish off some quick fire questions. Let our viewers know a little bit more personal details about you, Errol. So, can we have your telephone number? Where to send us CVs? These are the questions that's coming in from our guests on. Now, who's your favourite clothes designer?
ooh. Okay, right. I'm a classic person. I would say Tom Ford, just like his glasses or anything else.
Yeah.
These are not one. I've got the other ones. Tom Ford.
Tom
Absolutely.
Ford. Favourite food?
Homemade.
Do you like to dress up or just dress down, Cash?
Oh God, Errol Douglas, dress up. There's no such word as casual. You should see how I was dressed yesterday for this motorbike.
I think you've answered this next one, but it's meal in or meal out. But I suppose you've just answered that with saying, "Oh,
Meal in.
meal in."
But I love going out. Sorry.
And what if people walk past you and smell you? What's your favourite fragrance?
God, I wear so many. Tom Ford. It's got to be a Tom Ford oud or a Gucci oud or anything. But for me, and we didn't even touch on this, when I bring my products out, I've got such a great fragrance. But that's another podcast.
Another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode.
Get back on
Definitely.
for season 3 and season 4.
Yeah.
Errol, it's always a pleasure to speak to you and see you. And one thing I've always admired about you, whether you're at a dinner and it's an awards dinner and we see you in the bar before or after, before it's been announced, you've always got time for people. Sometimes people can be a little bit prima donna or they're too nervous and they just don't got time for anybody. You always take time out to speak to everybody. We've heard it on this in past people who have come and said you've helped them out in their careers and give them advice whether they've worked for you or not. But I think the biggest thing for me is for younger generations that's grown up within the fellowship and also British Hairdressing, you've always been one of those people that people have looked up to. And no matter what you win, you'll always have that.
Yeah.
You'll always have that.
Thank you.
You know, so Errol Douglas, MBE, thank you for being on Final Cut.
Thank you.
Great job. Super. Brilliant.
Excellent.